Hello guys, I am back from my whole rest week. Or is it what do you actually call it? 2 weeks of rest? Either way. So, I am back from another video, and today we talking about deku was a animatronic. So, this what if is actually going to be based on Five Nights at Freddy's, which is an old series that I absolutely love, which apparently, Scott Coffin is soon going to be retiring the series after Security Breach comes out. So, because I love this series, and also because it's about to end very soon, when Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach finally comes out, I decided to try and make a what if about it, just because that series actually made my childhood and helped me, started drawing and doing fan art because I absolutely loved drawing characters from that series, and it was super nostalgic to me. So yeah, so if anybody's watching this, for example, like the creator of FNAF himself, Scott Coffin, if you're watching this, thank you for making that series. It's actually kind of helped me cope with, some bullying back then. Either way, let's start the series. So we start off at a amusement park. This amusement park is in Japan, and it's actually a branch um restaurant to Afton's restaurant being Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Because if you don't know, William Afton is also the purple guy. Spoiler alert. Either way, Izuku came to that restaurant or that circus or that festival or whatever because it's his birthday. He's 8 at the time. So, when Izuku arrives there, this place was absolutely magical. Many of his wannabe friends decide to go there just because it's a birthday party, and they mostly didn't care about Izuku. The only thing that they cared about is just the food. Especially Bakugo. He was a bit of an asshole, the second canon, because after all, Izuku is quirkless. So, when Izuku, gets there, he was greeted by his quote unquote friends and his parents as they bring in the cake. While they were celebrating, they see the mascot being a rabbit or whatever it is. It definitely looks like a rabbit, but it has the face, like a similar face to a dog, and the hands are definitely similar to a whatever it is. It definitely looks like an amalgamation of several you know animals. And this mascot's name is Harry Frank. This animatronic or mascot started coming up to Izuku as he says this. So, are you having a jolly good time? As Izuku just says this. Yeah. So, after a while in the party, Izuku was all alone because everybody else was basically leaving, except for his parents. His parents were basically talking to the owner about something important, but Izuku saw the Harry Frank mascot as it tells him to follow him. Izuku, being naive, decides to go with him, as he was brought to a back room. Izuku just says this, Harry Frank, why did you decide to bring me here? As he gets stabbed right in the chest by this anima- wait for a second, animatronic, as Izuku just says this, what in the... As the animatronic starts stuffing Izuku into himself, as after he does that, Izuku's stuck. As Izuku sees William Afton with his signature, rabbit-like costume, as he says this. Well, hello there. The name's William Afton, also known as the creator of this fine establishment. In fact, Before you die, I want to tell you my story. So he basically explains what his motivations are and what he's gonna do to Izuku, basically just turning him into remnant soup. Which, if you don't know, remnant is basically like soul energy, basically. The series is super complicated now. Back then, I was starting off with like FNAF 3, and then FNAF 1, and then 2. But after the series has like gone on for like a few more years, it's even more complicated basically now. Especially because when I came back after FNAF's sister location, after seeing FNAF Help Wanted and FNAF, AR, it's even more complicated. So, yeah. And apparently they're also canon, which is even worse. Either way, Izuku was trapped in this animatronic, as William Afton brings him to another room, being a smaller version of like the scooping room, but except for, destroying animatronics, instead it's for killing children. Just like in the games, he loves killing children. Don't know why, but take a guess why. He explains that the reason why he's killing children is because of his son, Michael. And if you're wondering, I'm going for the theory that like Michael is actually the crying child and not the big brother. Mostly because I think that's a compelling theory and, well, I think it might be true. And for another reason, I think Michael should be, the crying child for another reason. Because how the hell did he live? So, yeah, I just imagine like him being, William Afton decides to like try to revive him by using children's souls and then creating an animatronic like approximation of him and so forth so far that basically like that. uh, just watch the theory about Mad Pat about that. I can't remember which video, but it's basically about that theory. So yeah, Izuku was brought to the quote-unquote scooping room as he was stabbed by several of these like knife machines. As when he was stabbed, he dies as his blood, or should I say his remnant, was taken out of him by William Afton as he throws Izuku into a certain animatronic, being a rundown one. This animatronic was his first costume, in fact. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's the spring trap costume. I meant this spring trap costume was a bit different though. Instead of being a golden rabbit, instead it's a wait for a second. It was a brown rabbit with clothing that are like the clothing is basically all white and the pants is basically like, a bit, dark purple-ish. He also wears a tie, this animatronic. After he was thrown aside and stuffed into the animatronic, his parents were concerned. So when they found the, dead body, several heroes and policemen arrived, as they basically saw that, William Afton, just like in the games, basically tries to protect himself from the spirits, not including Izuku because he's recently been killed, and he died in the Spring Lock animatronic, being Springtrap or Spring Bonnie, or whatever you want to call him. So, after a few years, and after, Izuku dying, Bakugo felt like he was responsible for getting him killed, because he thinks that he was the one that he actually killed him, just because, he was a bully, and for, several other reasons. So, he felt really bad, so let's just say his mind was wrecked because of that guilt. So, many years have passed, as many people basically go to the restaurant to either just vandalize it or decide to, well, shame it for its horrible deeds, especially for killing all of those children. So, Izuku is basically stuck in that animatronic for a few years until when the day of, All Might getting defeated, not really defeated, more like defeating All for One and also getting that scar, Izuku, Izuku wakes up and he's in an animatronic. This animatronic now is his tomb. Izuku has no recollection of his parents or anybody of his past, and now just seeks and tries to find anybody to make him feel whole again. Because of all of these years of being neglected, in a new body of his, being this animatronic, suit, the like fibers and the, what do you actually call it? Like suit, I guess? Or should I say the fur of the suit, started, well, decaying, and there's mold lines. Not really mold lines, I meant mold. Like, as in, like, you know, stains. Really disgusting stains. So Izuku has to rip off some of his parts and replace them with parts and service, animatronic bits, which were left because of, the whole, like, murder thing. So, after Izuku finishes repairing himself, a few years have gone by. Izuku was living alone, and many people, told ghost stories about Izuku being a quote unquote monster that steals and abducts children. But in reality, Izuku is just vibing over there, just doing nothing. He's just living out his life, you know, alone, but still, at least he's not, murdering children just like William, which, surprisingly, William is still in that, safe room, still trapped, and Izuku doesn't know. So, Izuku has this sort of vendetta towards, adults, because after all, William did kill him. So, when potential buyers, mostly adults, try to get into the, establishment, Izuku runs them out, and some people, or at least the survivors that didn't get killed by Izuku, told stories of this monster, calling him the Fazbear's Fright Beast, which was a completely, well, not really valid reason to fear Izuku. It's more like a stupid reason to fear Izuku. Because when Izuku sees an adult, it basically turns him into this almost rage state. Towards children, he's basically just okay with. In fact, he cares for children if they get lost and brings them back to their homes. But shortly thereafter, when the parents try to, try to see who saved them, well, he disappears in, well, seconds. For, teenagers are pretty much okay to him. And for Izuku just stays in the shadows if a teenager arrives at, the rundown, restaurant or facility or whatever. Izuku just looks at them in the shadows. And if they were to vandalize the entire place, Izuku just ignores it. But if they were to go into his own little room, which is basically just a, the parts and service room, and tries to tamper with stuff, well, Izuku starts murdering them. So yeah, some people didn't survive, but one person survived, but one of his arms was ripped off in the process. So many heroes arrived, and they tried looking around the place and tried, finding whoever did that to that, innocent person, but they couldn't find any evidence. So, yeah, it was pretty weird to them, especially because most villains never come there. Apparently, some villains don't really want to go there because it's cursed. So many priests try to go in there and try, purifying the place, but most of them got killed by Izuku. Even one was, crucified on the front of the gate, saying that he saw a demon. But they thought it was just some sort of joke and decided to just leave it alone. But they just bring them to a psychiatrist or something so they can at least help him a little bit. Many news stories about Izuku being called the Fazbear Frights Beast spread it onto the news, and many people were terrified of Izuku. So, after a few more years, it's basically the start of the anime. So, and by the way, guys, this is actually going to be a short video because this is just the introductions, and this will be the end of the episode. So, we're going to be ending off this episode in the start of the anime. So, yeah. So, before you leave, I wanted to ask all of you, what ship should Izuku have? Because Izuku died when he was 8. And there's a bit of a problem. Most of the girls in Class 1A, Class 1A, are either 15 or 16, while Izuku was 8. So, if any of you wants to pick a ship, just comment down below in this video. So, yeah. So, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!